Hey guys! In today's video, I'm gonna share a few things about my favorite papers and also how I cut my own paper strips out of these papers. I sometimes get questions about the papers that I use, so I hope this video helps to clarify those questions. I recently restocked on paper supplies and I started the process of cutting some into paper strips and storing the others away for future use. I've been using these papers for about 7 years or so and I really like them. They come in a variety of colors, which I love. I've always wanted to have more options in the shades of colors that I use for my paper quilling art projects, and most often during the years I couldn't really find many color options in pre-cut paper strips bought from stores. Almost everywhere I would find kind of the same colors with very few exceptions. So that's why I decided to cut my own paper strips. Of course, this can be a tiring process, especially given the fact that I have an illness that affects my muscles and I get tired easily when I put effort into the whole process of cutting. But even though it has been a little more difficult, I've still wanted to cut my own paper strips through the years to have more color options. I also use pre-cut paper strips for certain projects, and I'm gonna link below the shops from where I buy these paper strips. I've found some very good shops over the last years, so I definitely like buying pre-cut paper strips as well. So let me say a few words about my papers. Like I said, they come in a variety of shades of colors, and through the years, the shop has added more shades than they had initially, which has been great. The papers also come in two weights or grams per square meter. Some are 130 GSM and the others are 300 GSM. That is why if you've been watching my videos, you might have noticed that I often mention when I'm using 130 GSM paper strips or 300 GSM paper strips. It takes more time to get used to the 300 GSM paper strips, and one has to be more careful when working with them, but they are definitely useful because they add more sturdiness to some elements of my quilling artwork. I also use the 300 GSM papers to make the base card over which I glue paper strips. I love the pearl white paper shade that this shop has, and I've been using it for quite a long time. I make my own base cards because I haven't yet found blank pre-cut cards that are also sturdy. So with no other option, I had to start making my own base cards. This also takes effort and time, but the cards become even more unique because they are completely handmade. So in my first years of doing paper quilling, I would mostly use a paper guillotine to cut paper strips, but as much as I tried, they weren't always evenly cut, and at times that bothered me. Maybe I didn't have the best paper guillotine, that could also have been the problem. This method was easier than cutting the strips by hand, but it wasn't the best option for me. I then decided to start cutting my own paper strips with a paper cutter knife, a mat, and a metal ruler. I've been doing this for a number of years until a few months ago when I finally figured out how to cut paper strips using a special machine that I bought last year. This machine wasn't bought for the purpose of cutting paper strips, but for making stickers. I found out that I can also use it to cut papers and paper strips, so that was an amazing discovery. Here you can see that I've been cutting a lot of paper strips. I've been very busy. This is something recent, so it still gets me really excited when I look at them all. You can see here how the machine cuts them. I just make my design in the app on the computer and then it proceeds to cut them. So yeah, I'm very happy that I no longer have to struggle to cut by hand. I'm still cutting certain things by hand at times. I haven't completely given up on cutting by hand because I don't always keep the machine next to me to cut every little thing I might need. But knowing that I can use the machine to cut paper strips in bulk and stock them for later use is of so much help. I recently bought these plastic containers to keep my paper strips organized inside of them. And just this last week, I finally got the chance to sort all my papers by colors and place them inside the containers. I'm hoping this organizing method will work and will be easy to use. I've had other types of methods of organizing through the years, but I'm ready for a new one. How do you organize your paper strips? Like I said before, I also use pre-cut paper strips for certain paper quilling projects, and I keep them in this little basket close to my workspace so that I can have them on hand. In the last few years, I've found a couple of online shops that have more shades of colors for paper strips, so that has been wonderful. But sometimes these prettier shades tend to be more expensive, so as much as I wish to have a variety of them, it's still not so affordable. But they are definitely worth the try, even if you just get a few colors. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful and that it answered any questions you might have in relation to paper strips. Let me know in the comments what has been your experience with paper strips. Do you use pre-cut strips or do you cut your own? Also, how do you organize them to avoid things getting messy? I'd love to hear, and I'm sure others would too. Have a nice day, guys, and happy quilling!